Do you want to feel more easygoing and not all wound up on something that your uncle or auntie, whatever, said? How is it that you want to feel on your ride home going back into your world? Because that matters.
So you're really preparing in advance for the things that might make you shrink. That way you can plan a strategy and know that you're going to show up in, the energy that you want to embody. Hey everybody, it's Bianca.
And it's Emilia.
Welcome to another episode of Evolve Ventures, where we are helping growth-minded humans evolve by breaking one limiting belief at a time. We hope you enjoyed the last episode, number 238, Do You Want to Feel More Empowered? For today, 239, Motivation Monday, the way to show up as your best self in any room. So if you're listening to this, or when you're listening to this, not if you're listening to this, when you're listening to this, it is the end of October, and that means that the holiday season is upon us. So Thanksgiving, Christmas, Kwanzaa, all of these different really major ethnic holidays are all coming. Thanksgiving is not an ethnic holiday, but it is what it is. All these holidays are coming up, and there's going to be a lot of expectations and a lot of requirements of us being around other people, being around family, being in old environments, being around old friends. And what we've heard time and time and time again, and what Emilia and I both have experienced, is that when you go into old rooms and when you go into old environments, there's this feeling of shrinking that happens. This feeling of, I feel like I'm a little girl again, or I feel like I'm a little boy again, or I feel like, my 15-year-old self. I'm like 30 something years old, or I'm 40 years old. Why do I feel like I'm this old version of myself again? So what we're going to be diving into today is, how do you actually overcome that? How do you walk into these rooms embodying the beautiful and amazing person that you are today, with the confidence and the energy and the knowing who you are? And how do you not shrink and not start people pleasing and appeasing and doing all these things that maybe an older version of you used to do? So that is what we're going to be talking about today.
We have an article that's currently available. We'll link it in the show notes, and we highly recommend you go and check that out. But it's specifically use case for this. So happy Monday. If you haven't heard it, we're going to talk a little bit about what we call the Evolve Survival Toolkit, which essentially it can be for your average people pleaser, but honestly, it can be applied to anyone. And I think that that's what's so incredible about it. And I want to talk about what it is and what you can do in those scenarios. And B, you and I have honestly gone through this a zillion times at this point, I feel. Not only in our own stories and in our own lives, but also in helping so many other people. And you can tell when you put the intentional, concerted effort into really, really, really focusing on how can I show up as this best self and not shrink. There is a distinct difference than if you were to just kind of glaze into the holidays again and show up again and just kind of hope that it'll be over soon. Like, I know people that just go in and like, you know what, honestly, I show up and I try to get out of there as soon as possible, right? Family gatherings, barbecues, whatever, and the difference between someone that goes in and is just really hoping for it to be over and just waiting and counting down the times, days, minutes for it to be over is the type of person that isn't taking what we have available on the table readily accessible to all of us, which is intentionality, which is our thoughts, how we direct and guide them to actually the outcome, not only, in an energetic sense, but also in the relationships and how we want to feel when we get out of those. And I think that what this episode is geared to is so timely and so important, because I don't want our listeners really showing up and just kind of walking unconsciously through the next chapter or the next season, if you will, without really leveraging some of these tools.
Absolutely. So let's pick our top 3 from it, and we'll do it that way. So one of the first things that I will usually recommend for clients to do, and this is absolutely what I do in my own life, is in advance, identify what are the things that could potentially come up that might make you shrink. Because we all know that there are certain people or certain things that are said that trigger us to become, or trigger us to, do old patterns or to think old thoughts or feel old feelings. So anytime, I'll use my family for example, anytime they start talking about politics, I'm like, ooh, nope, not doing it. Nope. Because just the way that they talk about it, it boils my blood. So I know that is something that always makes me go into like fighter mode and protect mode. So I know in advance, okay, they're probably going to bring something up about this, or someone is going to just make an ignorant comment about something. Okay, what are those going to be? Because when you can plan for it in advance, it's not a surprise when it happens. It's not shocking because you anticipated it. So anticipate the things that are potentially going to come up, and anticipate what are you likely going to feel as a result of that. What have you felt in the past? What evidence do you have from your past? What experiences can you pull from that okay, when this person says this or when this person does this, I usually feel this. I start thinking these thoughts. And then you can strategize for it. So what can I do instead? When this person does or says this, or when this thing happens, what can I do? So you're really preparing in advance for the things that might make you shrink. That way you can plan a strategy and know that you're going to show up in, the energy that you want to embody. So that would be number 1 for me.
Definitely. What I want to comment on that is one of the things that I found to be really helpful when speaking with clients around this is, number 1, the word proactivity, right? That proactivity is absolutely huge. But number 2, I want to have our listeners picture three zones. The green zone, which are the things that you love talking about, which open you up, which are zones that you want to engage with old world, let's say, in. And that is like, absolutely, I want to have conversations in that. That lights me up. That's going to help me be my best self. Most of my expression will be somatically open. Like I can feel confident in my own skin when we talk about the green zones. What are the orange or yellow zones? The zones that are kind of uncomfortable, but kind of stretch you outside of your comfort zone, and you're willing to kind of dip your toe in with specific people if there are boundaries respected, respectful language, all that stuff, right? That is really, really helpful for you to categorize what is in the yellow/orange zone. And then there's red zones, to exactly what Bianca had mentioned. The red zone is what are you absolutely not willing to kind of go into? What is the environments? What does it look like? Maybe it's not staying at a function past a specific zone. That's going to help you honor your boundaries. And the thing that I would really pull into this conversation to kind of round this out is level setting expectations. When it comes to family in particular and people that we love and care about, it is so easy to have us not really level set our expectations and see the people that we love accurately. And I don't want to make any of us feel bad about this. I've been there too. I know that there is what's called the halo effect. It's an unconscious bias that we apply on those who we care about, where they can do no wrong, say no wrong. Even if we intellectually know it's uncomfortable, or what they say makes me shrink, or I don't feel my best self around them, we still love them anyways. And that's okay. However, being aware of it is incredibly important, again, to that proactivity component. And what I'm going to suggest for all of our listeners is level setting expectations when it comes to what are the likely most probable experiences you're going to have. Because when you can see accurate what those are, you can then be able to build upon what Bianca had said. And I think that that's an incredibly important component. The last thing that I'll bring in here is, what is your intentional energy zooming into the future? What is the car ride home? What do you want to feel in that car ride? Do you want to feel proud of yourself for sticking up for yourself? Do you want to feel more easygoing and not all wound up on something that your uncle or auntie, whatever, said? How is it that you want to feel on your ride home going back into your world? Because that matters. And when you can have that as your focal point, in addition to what Bianca had said, that is a really powerful pair that can bring you forward and leapfrog you into more and more interactions where you're even more yourself and showing up more in that energy in old environments, with old people, with old kind of patterns readily available to tap into.
Right. And so the way you do that is, again, preparing in advance. So put yourself into that energy before you step into the room. So is it, you have a hype playlist that you put on and it just puts you in the mood. Like Emilia's go-to song is Money by Cardi B. That song gets her popping off. For me, it's the song Superman by Armin van Buuren. I love that song. That song gets me so hyped. So how can you prepare for the energy that you want to feel before walking into that room? Do you want to feel hyped? Do you want to feel calm? Do you want to feel confident? How can you prepare before you step into that room to get yourself into that energy and into that mindset? Because when you can do that, you're going to show up really well during the interactions. And then once you leave, you'll be able to reflect and say, I'm proud of myself. I embodied the energy that I want. I showed up as myself, as my best self in that room. And even if I did slip, it wasn't as bad as how it usually is. It wasn't as bad as how it was in the past. So, happy Monday, everybody. We hope this episode brought so much value to you. What is your episode suggestion?
My episode suggestion for our listeners is 209, which is another Motivation Monday. So keep the hype going, y'all. And this is how to stop hiding who you are, where we go a little bit deeper into this concept. And honestly, there's always a part of us that we're hiding. And I believe that the world needs that so deeply to be brought into the rooms that we show up in, because that's going to help someone else have that permission slip to show up as their authentic self. So hopefully you listen to that. B, what is your final episode suggestion?
It's funny that you chose that one, because I chose 36, The Power of Courage. And in that episode, I actually talked about how I came out to my family and the courage of not hiding who I am anymore. So our episodes are synced up. That's cool.
I love that.
Once again, we used this episode from the article that was posted on the Evolve Ventures website, the Evolve Survival Toolkit for Your Average People Pleaser. I actually wrote that one. I love that article. It came out really good. So if you want a little bit more of an in-depth how-to step-by-step guide on this, that article is a really great place to start. All right, everybody. We hope you have an amazing week, and we will talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye, everyone.